Hello and welcome all Oshkosh YMCA school-age families to the online episode 3 of the daily lessons. Today is going to be more of a lesson that's involving some art skills, problem solving, and just an overall physical activity if you get a little more intense with it, as I do with the kids when we're on the playgrounds and stuff like that. But as we only can be in our houses or apartments at this time, we're going to alter the activity to fit that kind of setting instead. So without further ado, the lessons today is going to be Where's Waldo? I'm going to do a variation of it because Waldo's kind of hard to draw, and I don't know if everyone's going to have printers to print out Waldo colorations, so I'm going to be doing alternate drawings just in case people don't want to spend the time drawing the Waldo. You're able to do this game with variations of the drawings, but I'll just do one of them that I think works out really well, that I think the kids will be able to draw pretty well. You're going to need these materials for this following activity. Tape. You're just going to use this when you tape the thing around the house, wherever you want to find it. Drawing utensils. I have my pens as well as a pencil. I'm going to be using the pencil just in case something goes wrong. I might need to erase something. That happens. Scissors. Whatever you need to do with it, make sure you stay safe with it. Markers. If you want to color in your drawing, I'm going to do a pretty bland color with it just to go quick with it. But if you want to spend more time with it and draw it up a little bit, feel free to post a picture in the comments and let me see what you ended up drawing instead. Alright, so now that you have all your materials, including paper, was one thing that I forgot to mention, you're going to start drawing your character. Now I'm going to show you some examples of things that I drew a little bit earlier, and then I'm going to go through just a blank run of it where I'm going to draw the character myself as well in front of you guys. So my first attempt was at Waldo. You can see him a little bit. It's not as good of a job as I would have hoped, but he's a little boxy and such. The second character I decided to draw that was a little easier and has less steps is Pusheen the cat, if you're familiar with him. I didn't color him in yet because I just wanted to get the drawing down, but that's what he ends up looking like. So let's start drawing, shall we? We're going to go down a little bit so you guys can see me drawing as I go. What I like to do when I start out with the cat is you start with eyeballs. And then a nose in the center part. Now, that starts as your face. So you have a good center point. You do this little brow in the center. One ear on the side. One ear on the other that curves around a little bit to get you that nice edge on the side. Next, you do a loop around to make the rest of his body. And then you see down here, I match these lines up on the bottom to make the bottom of the cat. You do one leg on one side, one leg on the other side, another two in the center, and then you cross right through to make the rest of the cat on the bottom. So you have your base. Now you want to add some details so it looks a little more like a kitty. First part, these little stripes. His tail. Line, 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 line. Some whiskers. Like so. Now Pusheen the cat directly has his whiskers on the side like this. If you want to do it on this side to make it a little nicer looking, you can do that. And then you have these little marks on top that he ends up having. Now, there was my cat. So, I finished drawing him. Next part, I'm going to color him in. I have my markers right here. I'm just going to go with a gray. I'm going to color him in. Oh, this one's black. It has a gray cap. No big deal. I'm going to stay in the lines a little bit. I'm just going to trace them. Give them the outline that I want. It's not going to look exactly like Pusheen the cat, but I did a little variation anyway. Tail. Back. Whiskers. Face. Now I just outlined them. If you want to color the whole thing in, you can do that. give it a little more color. That would always make it look better. Next part, scissors. If you're like me, I'm left-handed and all I have is right-handed scissors, so I learned how to do it with right-handed scissors. But if you cut it out, go around the lines. If you feel like you don't want to keep the feet on the bottom down here, you could probably just cut all the way through and the cat will survive. So that's what I'm going to do. Makes it a little easier when cutting it out instead of going up and down like that. I am going to keep his tail though. So you want to rotate around the paper. Like so. Make sure he has his ears. Can't lose those. That'd be a little mean, huh? Rest of his other ear. I'll do my best to keep his whiskers too, just because those look pretty good on him. But those parts are going to be hard to cut for some kids, so you might need to help them out with those parts. Cut the rest of that off. One final snip. There we go. My cat. His little whiskers. I almost cut one of them off, but we saved them. Final part of this stage of the game is after you're done drawing and you're done coloring them in, you're going to hide them throughout the house wherever you end up wanting to do it. So let's get to that part next, shall we? Now, as you're playing this game and the kids are trying to find it or you're trying to find it, you end up wanting to give hints eventually if you hit it in a really difficult place. I did a trial run where I'm going to show you guys around. I'm going to show you around the living room and see if you can find it. And I'll do an example of how I'll end up splitting the room in half to say it's on this side, and then we'll do a view of that side, and then I'll directly show you where it is in the end. But the way I usually did it on the playground is that if they would spend out looking on the jungle gym, I would then divide the playground in half and say it is only on this side of the playground. You should only look on this side. And you give a pretty direct hint of where it is. When you're inside the house, I would suggest just doing it where it's in the living room. If it's still more difficult, then you'll just make it a little easier for them and say it's only on this half of the living room. And that's what I'm going to end up doing, is it's only going to be on one half of the living room in the end. But let's get a rotation around. Let's see if you guys find it. If you find it, leave in the comments of where you ended up finding it. Let's do a tour. All right. Let's see if you find it at all. I'll go pretty slow. That was the general layout of the living room. Now what I'm going to do next is, let's say the kids weren't sure of where it was. I'm going to divide the living room in half, so I'm going to cut it directly down the center. I'm going to put you guys where you can see it, where I'm going to divide it down the center. Let's go over here. So if I'm looking this way, I'm going to divide the living room in half. So I'm going to say the cat is on this side. So now it's pretty direct, it's only on this side. Gets rid of the whole half the room, it'll be a lot easier to find. So let's do one last look over where we know which side it's on. So we see the plants on top, stuff on the bottom. Let's see, nothing down there. Up here, none on the plants, none on those. Oh, okay. That was the final take. If you ended up finding it, let me know. I didn't make it too difficult just because I wanted to do a good example. But Share with me the places that you found were good hiding spots. If you're planning on doing where you're hiding underneath things, it can get more difficult, so then you just need to give better hints towards the end. I hope everyone enjoyed the third lesson. If you want me to try something that you think other parents will enjoy, or that's something that your kids have liked at home during this time, please share them with me and I'll do my best to pass them on to other parents. Thank you.